Hey everyone, how are you? I'm so glad you're back and you're joining us again. Welcome to A Turn of Events, where we help you put a positive spin on the future of your business. We know it's all been a crazy time with, everybody going virtual, and so we're trying to figure out how that's going to work for our businesses, and a lot of our businesses are shut down. So I'm kind of here to try to help you and bring on some experts who can help you think about ways to turn your business around or do different things. I'm Annette Naif. My company is Naif Productions. We are a strategic event production company based in New York City, but we do events all over the world. We specialize in corporate, social, nonprofit, and weddings. We do a lot of corporate and nonprofits right now. We're doing a lot of virtual. So if you have a virtual event and you have a live event and you want to take it to virtual, but you have absolutely no idea how to do that, please contact us. We would love to talk to you about it. We'll give you a free consultation and figure out what that looks like. Or you have an idea for an event, and we can help you with that as well. So my guest today is so super great. She is a rock star of a woman. She has a million things going on, and I don't even know how she does it all. But her name is Kimberly Hobscheid. She is the creator of Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, an active community of entrepreneurs looking to contribute, connect, and grow with your other entrepreneurs. And we had just I've connected with so many people with her. She connects people. So you want to know this woman. So let me bring Kimberly on so we can get started. Hello, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm great, Annette. How are you? It's really good to be here.
I know. Awesome. It's super exciting to have you. We're going to go through a lot of what we're going to talk about today is how to get on virtual stages and rock your revenue.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people like probably don't even realize that they could get on a stage. So like I'm an event producer and I could be getting on stages and talking about and getting in front of corporate and talking about how to take their events from a live to a virtual and doing things like that. So whatever expertise you're in, you can be on stages and talking about that. So it's really, I hear some typing. Kathy, is that you? I don't think so. Okay. That's funny, right? Okay.
I hear that as well.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Okay. We have little bugs in here. So I'm not sure what that is, but we'll just keep going. Okay, so why don't you, that is really strange. Let me just see what that's about. Don't know if I can fix that. This is technology. Where are my tech guys when I need them? Okay, so all right, let's just keep going. Oh, maybe it's my speaker. No.
Is it coming with my voice as well? Do you hear like?
I don't know. That's never happened, so I'm not really sure what that is. It might be coming from my voice. But it happens when I'm not speaking. So I don't know. Anybody have any ideas? Type them in the chat so we can figure what this is. So let me change the screen and see if that makes any difference. I don't think so. Because I'm not typing. It sounds like somebody's typing, right?
It does.
Okay. Anyway, all right, let's get started. So why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff, and how you got started, and then we'll just go from there.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. Thanks for the send off. I actually, I really like working with Annette. She's just an absolutely amazing superstar in the world of virtual, and taking things virtual is really so important right now because a lot of people are feeling really locked down, right? I can't go to work. I can't grow my business. I can't. And really, Annette is one of those amazing people that shifts that into, well, how can I? How can it be possible instead? And I really like the way that you approach the world. So I'm super glad to be here on your show. Thank you for having me. And my name is Kimberly Hobscheid. I am a 6-time entrepreneur, but it wasn't always that way. I actually spent 17 years in corporate, probably like a lot of your audience did. I did what they told me to do when I graduated from college, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, go Mustangs. They told me to like get a corporate job, right? So I did that, and I started at the bottom and worked my way up and climbed the corporate ladder, became an executive director, and I climbed directly into golden handcuffs, right? I was making a lot of money And as I got to the top of the ladder, I realized it was not even really a ladder I wanted to be on. And that happens to a lot of people, right? I was singing somebody else's song, I was carrying somebody else's banner, and I knew I really didn't just want to do that for the rest of my life. So fortunately for me, there was a lot of entrepreneurship in my family, and I had already started a few businesses and been fortunate enough to grow them to the point where I could sell them as well. So I decided I would become a full-time entrepreneur. And I went to my friends and family and said, well, what do you think I should do as a full-time entrepreneur growing a 7-figure business? And they were like, well, you were so good at what you did at corporate. Why don't you just do that?
Right.
And I thought, great idea, right? So I built a business around what I knew and what I was good at. And in building that business, I built it to 7 figures that had generated over $1 million in revenue. And I turned around, it was about 18 months into it. I turned around and I realized that I'd created my own jail cell because I built a business around what I really didn't love anymore, but I was good at it, right? And so now I had this business and I was responsible for contracts and customers and delivery. And I had employees. I had 7 employees that I was responsible for their paychecks. And it was not, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was a real eye-opening experience. And I had what Brene Brown calls a spiritual awakening, also known as a breakdown. And I had a personal crisis, like, really, I did this and I don't know what to do.
Right.
And I went out onto a mountaintop to try to find the answer, and it wasn't there. And I came home.
Like eat, pray, love, right?
Right. And I realized that I'm not just an entrepreneur, I'm also a mom. My son was 15 and a half, and he came to me and he said, Mom, I have a crisis. And I thought, great, somebody else's crisis to focus on, right? And so he said, I'm going into summer and I'm 15 and a half. And that's a really crappy age to be entering the summer because I'm too young to get a summer job. And I'm too old to go back to summer camp because that's boring and stupid now because I'm 15 and a half. And I said, well, you're never too young or too old to be an entrepreneur. So let's pivot and shift and like create a business around what you do. Right. And he was like, wow, can we do that? And we did. And we created, for him, he was really into drama, and he was into improv. And so we created this business around audiobooks. He was an audiobook narrator, and so was I. We actually built an entire business just for fun. Wow. And I thought, this is what we need to do. Business needs to be built around what we love doing, what's fun for us. And because we're an entrepreneur, we can change and shift and pivot in whatever way we need to in order to be able to do what's really fun and to serve a community in a way that gives us joy. And so very much like what you're teaching people now is, these large events, they can pivot and shift and become online events and virtual events. It's a really great message to be able to bring to entrepreneurship that we have the ability to turn on a dime and create something around the world that we're living in now.
Yeah. It's definitely a different world. So, okay. So you seem like, I know you, and you seem like an extrovert to me. So getting on stage must be natural, must seem natural to you. Is that right?
Well, I am an extrovert. And a lot of people say, well, Kimberly, it must be like super easy for you. You probably came out of the womb speaking.
Yeah. People say that to me too. They say the same thing to me, like, oh, you're so outgoing, you probably, and honestly, I'm better on stage than I am on camera. I feel more comfortable, I should say. And I'm getting better now because I'm doing this, and this, I'm getting used to doing this, so it feels more comfortable. But I'm in front of a million people on stage, doesn't bother me at all. So it is kind of, you still get nervous. I think everybody does, but go ahead.
Absolutely. So one of the things about going virtual is that you can go virtually everywhere, right? You can go and you suddenly don't just have to be on stage in front of the people who could make it to your event, but you can go on stage and be, instead of in front of 20 or 30 people, you can go on stage and be in front of 100, 500, 1,000 people, because Zoom rooms and virtual events can connect you with worldwide audiences. The last summit I was on, we had over 1,000 people registered to be on the summit. We had people from 40 countries, and we had guest speakers from 5 countries that were able to come together on a virtual event and present material to entrepreneurs and be able to grow their business from a virtual stage.
Right. It's definitely, so how do you get clear about your topic? We're going to dive into being a speaker and all of that. So how do you get clear about your topic?
Yeah, I think when you start building a business, you need to be sure that that you have a message. Most people that are building a business have sort of a purpose behind it, a vision, a mission, a goal, like a purpose in life. And usually your talk is around that, but it needs to be compelling to the audience in which you are speaking, right? So if your audience is entrepreneurs and they're curious about a particular topic that leads to your product, program, or service, that's the topic that could be a compelling title. So oftentimes you'll see titles that resonate with you, and those will be good titles. But if you ask your audience, what is it that you are wanting to learn about this particular topic, they will give you information about that. And I'm a big fan of making sure that you're catering to your audience rather than just catering to you. Because if you're buying, if you're your customer, that's great. But if your customers are not only you need to be sure that you're serving them as well.
Right.
So oftentimes the titles and the topics will be something around, the 8 mistakes entrepreneurs make when starting any business, or, the 3 secrets of entrepreneurship that I wish I'd known when I started, or something like that. So it'll have a number in the title, but it'll be compelling enough where people are like, I want to see that. And deliver your message behind it.
And make it clear. Because if it's some fancy title with fancy words, no one's going to understand what it's about. So you need to make sure that it's very clear and people get it. I mean, like you're speaking to 5th graders or whatever, but you want to make sure that people understand what your topic's about, so they're going to come to it and listen to
it. Absolutely. One of the things I taught in entrepreneurship is that you want it to be searchable. You want people to be able to find it, right?
Yes.
And so if you are putting something out there about self-care or weight loss or something like that, you want to have people that are searching for those kinds of things be able to find you. So if you put something like a talk title, How to Achieve Your Dreams, and it doesn't have anything about weight loss or self-care, then the people who are searching for that are not going to find it, right? So you want it to be clear on the topic and the value that they're going to get out of it.
Right. Okay, so big question, how do you find stages?
Oh, so this is a question I get a lot. And a lot of people are curious, like, okay, I have a message and I know I want to get it out there, but how do I find the stages? Like, how do I make the connections with the people who have the stages that will put me on the stage? And the funny thing is, this is one of the easiest things that you can do, because really it's just adding on to the last part of your conversation, whoever you're having the conversation with. Just a simple statement that is, Annette, I'm trying to grow my business in 2020 or 2021, and I really want to get explosively larger this particular year. I have some big goals set for myself, and in order to do that, I need to get on some stages. So do you know of any podcasts, radio shows, TV shows, web summits, webinars, or live stages that I can get on? Or do you know of anybody that is hosting speakers for anything? Because I'm really trying to grow my business. You would be surprised at how many people know somebody that has a podcast, a radio show, a TV show, or something that you can get on. And we actually did this right before COVID hit. We were at an event with 300 people. And we were challenged, like, go out and find as many stages as you can in this room. So when you go back into the event, sit down and the person next to you, just say that, I'm looking to grow my business. Do you know of any stages that I can get on? And each person that came out got between 5 and 15 stages just from having conversations with the people that were sitting next to them.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm actually putting a link in the box right now, and Sneaks to be another problem. This is not, the technology is not working today, but we're gonna fight through it. So there's a site called Eventbrite, and they have a list of all the events that's going around the country. So Eventbrite is a really good place. But also, obviously, Event Producers is where to go to try to get on stages also, But especially podcasts are really big right now, and everybody's doing that. So that's a really good idea. All right, so how much do you practice and rehearse? Did you want to say something else?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Practice. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So how much should somebody practice or rehearse? And sometimes if you do it too much, you're going to freak yourself out. But so what is your advice on that?
absolutely. So great question, Annette. And a lot of people get hung up in the rehearsal piece, in the concern about being able to be seen and heard. And, I want to get perfect. And I always tease, I say, I know that you really want to be perfect. I've been on over 5,000 stages, and the rehearsal for me has always been learn by doing, right? And that's the motto at Cal Poly. But it just get out there, get practice. I have been on over 5,000 stages, and my best talk is my next one, because every time you do it, you're going to improve something, you're going to correct something. So I tease and say, there's my friends and family out there who are like, I am going to do my first Facebook Live, but first I'm going to get my hair done and my nails done and my makeup on, and then I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And then I'm going to get a new iPhone because my iPhone doesn't work anymore, because when I lost 20 pounds, it's now an iPhone 20 instead of an iPhone 10. And then I'm going to go live on Facebook. But now Facebook isn't a thing anymore because it's been 10 years and I can't go live. So really, it's just get the first one out of the way, get the second one out of the way, get the 100th out of the way, and you'll learn as you go. So when you ask about rehearsal for me and rehearsal for most entrepreneurs is really learn by doing. Once you get the first one done, you can make a shift, you can make a change. And that's what entrepreneurs are so good at, to be able to just correct on the go.
Right. And I think too, you really should kind of, if you're going to do a talk and it's a certain amount of time, you should practice it, not overdo it so that you're, so strict and you're trying to remember everything. Listen, if you're an expert in a certain area, you shouldn't have any problems talking about it. If you're trying to be somebody else, you must be yourself. If you're trying to be someone else, it's just not going to work. You need to be yourself. Talk about what you know. When I could talk about events in my sleep, but sometimes when I think about it, if I'm preparing for a talk, I'm like, oh gosh, and then you're gonna kill it. Like I could talk for hours. I don't even know why I get upset or nervous or anything. But you just obviously that's everybody. Everybody gets like that. So I think running through as an event producer, making sure that you're on time and not going over the allotted time, because it could mess up the whole program. I think that's super important. But yeah, practice is everything. I mean, even like with me doing this show, I'm much more comfortable now than I was in the beginning. I every time I get up, I'm like, oh, I forgot to say that, or I wanted to say this, and then I do it and I say the one thing that I forgot the other things. It really doesn't matter. Just do your best and be yourself and authentic, and everyone's going to notice if you're not authentic. So, and what do you need to know before getting on the stage? So I can probably answer some of that on the producer side, but that's a really good thing to know.
Well, that's a really good point. And I just want to camp on to what you said. You're absolutely right that you just really want to get out there and be yourself. And I always say, you got to be you. I see so many entrepreneurs trying to recreate what somebody else did and copy and mimic. And really, first off, you got to be yourself, because everybody else is taken. So you might as well be yourself. And secondly, really, we want the authentic you. We want you to be as authentic as possible. I have a mentor, and he's fantastic, and he's taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot from him. And I do follow mentorship a lot and do implement all of the suggestions. But my mentor is completely different from me. As a matter of fact, he's an introvert, right? So there's no way I could be what he is. And I bring to the table my own personality and change the way that I'm doing it because of who I am. So I definitely think showing up authentically, and really that's why we buy. We buy from people, and we want to know and love and trust them. And so when we buy from people, we want to buy from the authentic you. So even if you're not perfect, guess what? None of us are, right?
And people want to see that.
Exactly.
People want to see, like, oh, I had a glitch at the beginning of this. Like the sound isn't perfect, but we're just going to keep going, and I'm paying attention to what you're saying, and it's interesting. So, what the hell, what are you going to do? So, all right, okay, so what do you need to know before you're getting on the stage?
Two things. There are two really important things before you get on any stage in order to be a really effective, inspirational speaker, and that could be just inspiring them to take action on your offer, to engage with you, or just to inspire them toward hope or possibility, or even if you're trying to inspire them to be frustrated with something or whatever. To be inspirational, you need to know two things. Number one, before you get on any stage, you want to think, how do I want this audience to feel at the end of my talk? How do I want them to feel? What do I want them to really be motivated to feel? And the second is, what do I want them to do? What action do I want them to take? So before getting on any stage, these are the things that I learned along the way, by the way. I didn't know that in the very beginning, but when you focus before you get on any stage, what do I want them to feel and what do I want them to do at the end of this talk, you will be very clear on your message internally. So wherever the conversation takes you, if you're being interviewed, or wherever your PowerPoint takes you, if you are focused in what do I want them to feel and what do I want them to do at the end of this, then your audience will naturally feel that and be able to be inspired to take that action.
Right.
If you're unclear on what you want them to feel or what you want them to do at the end of your talk, then they will be unclear as well.
Right. And also, I think that storytelling is really compelling. You can tell stories that lead into what you're trying to do, like your sell. Or like with me, I tell all kinds of stories when I'm talking all the nightmare things that happen in events and how we solve those. And so that keeps it interesting. So like when I teach a course at MPU. When I'm teaching, I tell the students, okay, this is what happened. This is why you don't want to do this. And this is what you do if this happens. So the storytelling, I think, is always a good idea. Where can we get more information about speaking and getting on stage? So I had shared eventbrowse.com. You can get it from event producers as well, connecting with event planners, producers, meeting planners, things like that. So what are some other suggestions that you have?
Yeah, so I actually have a company called Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. That's entrepreneursrocketfuel.com. And if you go to entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/get on stage, there is a form that you can fill out to register as a speaker. And that can be whether you're just wanting more information about speaking, or whether you need a little bit of green room practice, rehearsal stage time, or if you're ready to get mic'd up and you're like, nope, I've got my talk ready and I just need to find stages. So mic me up, let's start getting booked. There's an opportunity for you to get that. And if you're ready to create your own virtual stage in a variety of ways, either a podcast or a web summit of your own, we actually have something for stage hosts as well. So no matter where you are in your get on stage journey, we would love to have you with us. So that's entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/get on stage.
Great. And that's the thing with what you have, it's like a hand holding sort of thing. You know, it's hard to get to meeting planners and event producers. It's sometimes hard to get to them. They may not have the right event going on at that time, but you have your fingertips at all kinds of events, which is really great. I just had someone this morning ask me, Kelly Black, if you're listening, contact Kimberly because she asked me, she's looking if I could help her start a podcast. And I said, that's not what I do, but I have experts that do it. So I'm definitely going to connect the two of you. So I already have a lead for you because it came to me this morning. I know. So she wants to start her own podcast. And so you're perfect for that. The one thing that I want to say about that is, okay, so we recently did a virtual event. I posted a bunch of it on my Facebook page, and we did it on Monday and Tuesday. Monday was rehearsal, and Tuesday was the event. It was fantastic. There were 13 of us behind the scenes. It's a lot to do that. It was a one day, but it was lots of speakers on the stage, lots of transitions, and you need a team. And people don't realize how much is involved with the virtual side of doing an event and the team that's involved. So what I want to say to speakers is, if you are looking to get on a virtual stage, you're still on a stage, it's even like it's live, it's the same thing. You need to make sure that you have enough time in your schedule to do it. So there is going to be a tech check that has to happen the week before. And it can be 10 or 15 minutes, but we need to check that your lighting is good, that your sound is good, that your frame is right, you're wearing the right thing, your backdrop is right. Like, we need to go through all of that for you so it's cohesive in the event. The other thing is the rehearsal. We need you to be there on rehearsal because we're going to run through the program. And then we need you to log in 30 to 45 minutes before the event. I don't care if we did the check or did the rehearsal, we still need you to log in because we need to make sure your connection is right. And if it's not, we need the time to make sure that it's correct because we have this event going on and we have to fix everything. So if we as event producers are sending you emails, please don't send us emails asking us to stop sending you emails because we have to make sure that we connect you to the right, we make sure that the communication is there. We're going to over communicate because we want to make sure that you got the email. So it's important that you put the time aside and you respect the event producers, the host, the client that has the event producers, and everyone else involved in the tech so that it's successful for you and for the client and for all of us. So it's kind of a little tip that if you are trying to get on a stage, and even if it's virtual, make sure that you understand what the time is for you to be in participating. And get your PowerPoints in on time, because that's super important. We don't need to be changing PowerPoints at the last minute. So just some little, housekeeping things to remember when you are a speaker. If you're great to work with, you're going to be called back. If you're not, no one's going to want to work with you. So think about that as a speaker, and it's just important. So that's just my little spiel. But a lot of this, it's just super. I think people don't understand there's so much involved with a virtual event, just as much as getting on a stage. Okay, so
I agree with that completely, and I couldn't support you anymore because it's absolutely true. One of our least favorite things to do when we are booking people for stages is to chase you for your information. I don't want to chase you to find your bio or your headshot or your links or anything like that. Please don't make us chase you. And as much as you are on somebody else's stage, it's like being in somebody else's house. You are a guest. You're called a guest for a reason because you are there at in their space, right? So your job as a guest is to behave like an appropriate guest, follow the rules, and show up on time, be there, and make sure that you follow the rules of the host and that you glorify them as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we're there to make you look good. So we're sending you emails to explain what needs to happen. Here's the explanations. We're there to make you look good. So we want to make sure it's efficient and it's professional. Otherwise, it's going to look like a mess, and you're going to look like a mess, and they're going to think it's your fault. So, you're the face that's on the screen. So anyway, just a little tip from an event producer, and hopefully that helps. Okay, so you guys, if you have any questions, please jump on here and ask some questions. We did get a couple that came in. So one person says, you mentioned being a mom and you're talking about your son. How do you balance being a mom and an entrepreneur?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. There's actually a new thing out there called mompreneur. And I think that's a really good phrase, right? Because we're balancing all kinds of different things. We're balancing, our self-care, our home life, our work life. Maybe we've got aging parents that we're taking care of as well. And there's all of these different demands on us. And it is a really good point. And really, as long as you are grounded in what gives you joy and making sure that your business is there to support you and you are not focused on supporting your business, and really you have your priorities straight in that way, I think that was the mistake that many of us have made, and I myself made, by creating a business around something that I was good at, but it really didn't give me joy. And if your business isn't filling you in the proper ways, then really think about that. Is this really what you want to spend your time doing, or have you just given yourself another job that you don't really want to do in the first place?
Yeah, you have to love. You have to love what you do to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it has to be your baby, basically, because it's a lot of work and it never ends. And it's just like I feel like I started a whole new business with the virtual, reshifting and virtual. Though we've done it for many years, it's a whole other ballgame when you're doing it on virtual.
My second tip on that, if you have time first, is it okay if I give it?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. My second tip for that is actually get yourself on the road to joy. ROAD is an acronym. R stands for relish. If you relish it, keep doing it, man. Do it as much as you can. If you love talking with clients, talk with as many as you can. If you love love getting on stages, get on as many stages as you can. If you're more behind the scenes and you like doing your invoices and the science behind what you do, and that's great. Or if you like customer service and you want to do that, focus on what you love, what you relish doing. If it's not in the relish bucket and you don't adore it, then it needs to go in one of the other three buckets, O, A, or D. And that stands for outsource, automate, or delegate. So get it off your plate as quickly as possible. Outsource could be that you find somebody else that does that product or service that needs to be done for your business and you outsource it to them. Automate would be if you're sending all these follow-up emails and you're sending individual emails and you don't want to do that anymore, make sure you automate that process. Or delegate is hiring maybe a virtual assistant or somebody that can help you in your business, even if that's your kids for right now as mompreneurs, and say, okay, well, I need you to do the shredding for me, or I need you to do the, even like kids are great at doing like, my son actually taught me all about Instagram, right? So I was like, great, Instagram, that's in your bucket, sweetheart. I know nothing about Instagram. So being able to delegate that to him was really phenomenal. So if you relish it, keep doing it. If you don't, put it in outsource, automate, or delegate, and that will keep you in the joy of your business.
That's great advice. Great advice. I love to delegate. I can't do it all myself, and I don't want to. But some days I feel like yesterday I felt like I was the marketing, accounting, the salesperson, logistics. I did it all yesterday, but that's part of running the business. So let's talk about.
Seven-figure entrepreneurs. The secret of being a seven-figure entrepreneur is that you cannot do it all yourself.
That's right.
No way you can get to seven figures. Well, there's very, very few ways that you can get to seven figures if you are doing all of the work yourself. Right. Being able to bill out at that dollar per hour is very unlikely, but if you do, awesome for you. But the best way to get to seven figures and get your life and your time back is to outsource and hire a team. And to automate as much as possible, because you cannot be, and also the secret to selling a business eventually is it can't be you. What are you going to sell yourself, right? So you got to be able to get that systematized in some way, train other people how to do it, and then move forward in that direction. So if you don't love it, get it off your plate.
Yeah, exactly. So, so if you're getting on a stage, how much should you charge? Are people paid to get on stages right now, especially with virtual? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we separated into sort of three different types of speaking gigs. One is getting paid to talk, which somebody will write you a check for coming on, being a subject matter expert. Number two is sponsored talks, meaning that you have you have an audience, but you have somebody that is paying for you to go speak at those different locations and advertise their product or service. And number three is speak to sell. The first one, if you get paid speak.
Uh-oh. You're frozen. All when you just get into the good stuff. We lost Kimberly. So there are many ways about getting, that you can get paid, and I'll kind of touch on some of those. So we've had clients where if you get on a stage, you just want to make sure that if you're the host of the event, that you are not the person that is speaking can make an offer, but you want to make sure that it's not going to, if you're making an offer and you're the host of an event, you want to make sure that it's not going to conflict with, okay, we lost her, but she'll come back. We want to make sure that it's not going to conflict with the offer that you are as the host are, the person in charge of the event is selling. So if you're selling a package program for $25,000 or $5,000 and someone else on your stage who's speaking is doing the same thing, that doesn't work, because people are going to, what if they like that speaker and they buy from them, they're not going to buy from you. So you make sure that it's at least like $1,000 or something less than what they're selling on the stage, and that they you get a commission. So the host of the event gets a commission. So as a speaker, they would maybe ask you to get a commission. And so there's things like that you can do. There's different everyone. listen, a lot of times I will get on a stage because I'm going to get, and for nothing, I don't get paid, because I'm going to get a whole audience of people that could possibly want to connect with me and work with me. So you have to keep in mind, I know there's a lot of people that can, that charge thousands and thousands of dollars. It just depends on if it's a keynote speaker and it's a famous person, we're going to pay them the fees that need to get up there. So it really depends on, if it's a fundraising event, we try to get everybody to donate their time. So I think, connecting with Kimberly, she can talk more about what it is, like the fees and what they're doing right now with virtual. I know it's a little different of an animal. A lot of people are just donating their time and not having to travel. And then what they're doing is, if some of our clients are doing events right now that are virtual, but they're going to do a live aspect to the event next year. So the person that's speaking is donating their time for this, but we're paying them for next year's event. So they're doing 2 events, but they're only paying for one, getting paid for one. So let's see, I think Kimberly's coming back. So it's just definitely, hi. So I was just, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so I was just telling everybody about the aspects of being on stage as a speaker. You can sell something that's going to be a lot less than with the host of the event, and then they would give the host a commission of what they made on it. But it has to be something like $1,000 or less if you're on somebody else's stage. You have to work that out. And then there's times that you want to get on a stage and speak. But I do it for free because I'm going to get an audience of people and I know I'm going to make some contacts. So there's that. So if you want to talk about what you were going to say.
Sure. And I apologize, not a good guest to be able to not have a backup. And one of the things that we always talk about is, I'm actually on my backup right now, but you have a backup. And then you have a backup for your backup, right? So,
yeah. So just to explain that Kimberly is in her car because her office is being remodeled. So you kind of have to go with the flow with these things right now. So, all right, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
Awesome. So let's talk about the 3 groups of, and you shared a little bit while I wasn't here, but the 3 groups of speaking engagements that you can get are, you have, one is speak to sell. One is paid speaking gigs. Number 2 is sponsored gigs, and number 3 is speak to sell. So if you are a subject matter expert in a particular subject, and you are really you have a very specific type of knowledge, you can get paid to get on somebody's stage, and let's say that's a $500 per hour gig, or maybe $2,000 for the day or something like that, where you can come on and speak on a particular subject because you are a rare subject matter expert and you have a particular expertise. Oftentimes you'll find athletes or professionals in some way that come and speak and tell their story, and they can get paid because either they're a big name or they have a very particular topic that they can speak on, and those are great speaking gigs, and it's a wonderful opportunity to get paid to be on stage. Number 2 is if you have a following or an audience, and you are, like, let's say you're a podcaster or something like that, and then you have an audience and draw people to you to hear you speak about something, and then you get sponsorships from people who want to get to that audience. For example, if you have a health improvement show or something like that, and then you get Lululemon to sponsor, and then you have them actually talk about them during a commercial break, or you put their logo on your slideshow presentation or something like that. That's a sponsored gig. That means that somebody is paying. They're not there, but they are paying to get their logo or their information in front of your people. So the first one is their audience, that you're getting paid to speak in front of their audience. The second is your audience, and you're getting paid to put their logo and information in front of your audience. The third one is speak to sell. And speak to sell is when you get an audience and you get in front of an audience, and then you don't get paid to speak in front of that audience, and you're not getting sponsorship, but you're actually selling your own product or service to that particular audience. In my opinion, speak to sell is the most lucrative, because while you could make $2,000 for being able to bring value to a particular audience, the good news is that in speak to sell, you can get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 because you're promoting your own product or service to a wider audience. So speak to sell can be the most lucrative, even though a lot of people really like the idea of getting paid to be on stage. Speak to sell can actually be a lot more lucrative. So those are the types of speaking engagements that we have available.
And what I was speaking of is that you may have to give a percentage of what you sell to the host of the event. So just know that and work that out.
Absolutely. And that is usually called a joint venture or affiliate commission in some way, where you have worked that out in advance and said, okay, when I speak, I'm going to make an offer for a product or service. And let's say I sell a $500 course. Generally speaking, actually, I do this a lot. So generally speaking, that's a 50-50 commission split. So if you have a $500 course, that's a group course or product or service, you would then pay the host 50% of the revenue that you generate based on being on their stage. They're putting you in front of their audience as a trusted advisor to that audience. And if you make a sale from that, they would then be entitled to 50% of that. But if you think about it, Annette, it's really cool to be able to not pay for any promotion until you actually make a sale. Facebook ads will not give you that same deal.
Right.
So
exactly.
you're going to pay regardless, right?
Yeah,
You pay only when you actually make a sale. So it can be very, very lucrative.
Okay, well, great. It's such great information. I've got one final question here is, what do I need before we get started? This is from Lisa that came in, and she's like, what do I need before I get started?
I love this question, Annette, and I'm so glad they asked it, because a lot of people get stuck in the, oh, I'm not ready yet. And
yeah.
Yes, if you have a business, you are ready to get on stage, because after the first one, you're going to learn what you need for your second one. And it's just a matter of getting on stage and making sure that you get started. I have been on over 5,000 stages, and I have never given anybody a speaker one sheet. A lot of people say, oh, I've got to get my speaker one sheet ready, and I have to have that, make sure that I have that ready first. And you really don't. You just need to be able to be able to provide value, be able to give them a couple of things. First off, you want to give them a bio, a little background on who you are. You want to give them a headshot so that they can promote your program and that you can promote them back. And you want to be able to give them a little information about your talk title. Now, it does not have to be a written out scheduled talk. It can be just interview style. Our talk title could be how to get on stages and rock your revenue. Our talk title could be how to create an online course in 60 days or less. Something like that is enough of a talk title. And if you have those small amount of items, you can start talking on stages in a lot of different ways. So that's what you need to get started. Bio, headshot, talk title.
Yeah. Also, too, if you're just some other little tips that came to mind while you were talking about that, and as a producer, good things to have is if the client is videotaping, ask them for your section of the part that you're speaking session, so that you can have that. It can be raw, but then you can cut it and use it. But you want to make sure, like, whenever I'm looking for speakers, I don't want a boring speaker. I want someone who has energy, who's exciting, who's fun. They may be, so nervous, but we can't tell. Like, even if you're nervous, it's okay. But you're just killing it and just having a lot of fun. That's the stuff we're gonna look for. I'm not gonna look for someone who's like really like boring, because nobody wants a boring speaker. So try to get your session from the event. They will be more than happy to cut it, give it to you, and you can raw edit it. You can edit it from the raw feed. And then also ask about what to wear, because if you have a special kind of background, black or white or so much joy. Can you mute your phone for 1 second? There we go. Okay, so if you have a lot of the background makes a difference on what you're wearing. So if it's a black background and you're wearing black, you're going to only have a head. So if they're videotaping, you want to make sure that you're not a floating head on the stage. So ask them, what does the stage look like? What's the lighting going to be like? You hope that they have good lighting. Are they going to have a confidence monitor? So the confidence monitor is a TV in front of the stage where you can read, you can look at your notes and follow your PowerPoint, which is off the screen to the side, so you don't have to always look at the screen to the side.
Yeah. Good job.
So
that's a good job.
do they have these things? Are you going to be mic'd? especially how much time do you have, and follow the time. Don't go over your time because that's going to wreck the whole event. So those are just some pointers.
I love it. Really good tips, especially for beginning speakers. That is really, really helpful. I know people really struggle with, am I going to be ready? Those are really great ideas for how to make sure that you're as prepared as possible.
I'm choking up over here. I'm so excited. I'm choking up. Anyway, thank you so much, Kimberly. So we put links to where to find you: entrepreneurrocketfuel.com/get-on-stage. If you're looking to talk more about this and find out more, you gotta go to Kimberly. She is the rock star on this, and she can help you with this. And anything else? I mean, do you have anything you want to promote right now? Because I know you're doing a ton of things.
Well, yeah, thanks for that. Really, just if you are looking to get on stages in a bigger way, I would really encourage you to do that. If you're looking to grow your business, getting on stage and speaking one-to-many instead of one-to-one really amplifies your business in a much better way. It's a really great opportunity. So get out there. If you are not being seen, you're being overlooked. If you're not being heard, your message isn't getting out there. And if you're not clear on your message, then it's not going to have the impact you want it to make before you leave this world.
Yeah, that's so true. And you just have to start, because if you, like you said, you're not going to have the right weight, the right hair color, the right mate. It's just get started, and eventually you'll get a rhythm and it'll all flow. Thank you so much, my dear. We put your information out for everyone to contact. We'll send out emails. Again, you can reach out to us if you have any questions. But thank you. You're the best. Thank you for doing this, and good luck with your construction work over there.
Thank you so much. It's been a genuine pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having me. What an interesting and fun show. You are a consummate professional.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Talk to you soon. We'll be back next week.